bothered about can we become better individuals. This is the only uddesha. This series of lectures are only, that's what I wrote in my mail also. This is the only uddesha. Can we make our life better? I think all of us are struggling only for that. We want to make our life better, which means we have to understand the meaning of better itself. We'll spend several janmas in finding out the correct meaning of what do you mean to be better. Can we be contented? Can we evolve? Individuals, if they don't evolve, we have wasted time. The aging process has aged us. This is the most important yardstick for every one of us. Every 5 years we must sit and ask, how have I evolved? I don't have to ask what happened to my bank balance and my assets. That I'll ask later. First question I will ask is, have I evolved? How have I evolved in 5 years? Every 5 years I want to ask this question. Otherwise, this janmasya vyartata bhavati. I think we'll waste this janma. We should evolve. So, are there ideas which will help us for that? So, these are all our interests in this text. So, since I am saying this, so the entire thing is about saying, so let us talk about our pursuit called life. We are all in a journey called life. All of us, all living beings. All of us, when I say all living beings, including the ant, including that organism which I need a microscope to see, all living beings have a pursuit called life. Okay? And so the question is, what is it that is going to make me better is a very fundamental question. In fact, all other questions are actually subsumed into it. All questions like what degree I do, which job I take, should I transfer, should I change job, do I do this, everything is subsumed into this bigger question. The bigger question is, what makes me better? Unwittingly, we are actually searching only that. We may not have the clarity of that thought, but that is what the Antaryami is actually doing, only that. It is trying to find out how can I become better. Now in that process, people take different assumptions of what better means. That's the only difference. The path and the methodology, the uddesha is not different. The understanding of the uddesha and the path only is differing from people to people. And so, if you ask all living beings, if you ask finally what are we trying to do, we actually do two things, which is what Shankaracharya in his opening commentary on Gita also very nicely brought, that's why I brought it. So we are only doing two things in life. Constantly we will do this. We are doing only these two things in life. One I call it as Abhyudaya. It's all about material richness. It's all about security. It's all about health. It's all about no fear. I have enough food, enough security. My things are taken care. All these are called Abhyudaya. Okay? And then all of us also have another. That's called Nishreyas, which is we all actually want to evolve. We want to become better. We have quintessentially, this question will never escape us, and the question is, who am I? Existential questions come. I mean, sometimes it comes because my mood is very bad or something bad happened. At that time it pops up very strongly. But it is memory resident program all the time in us. It is not going to go. So it is Abhyudaya and Nishreyas. Now there is a big difference between these two. The biggest difference is Abhyudaya is all to do with Indriya. All to do with Indriyas. Manas is also an Indriya. Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar, all of them are Indriyas only. There are higher level Indriyas. Antakarnas. Anything to do with what you can process and understand, explain perhaps, compare, and then therefore feel happy, sad, all these come under Abhyudaya. It's all about the world outside. World outside of the Jivatma. There is there is also a world outside inside. If you keep Jivatma a Kshetra, if you use Bhagavad Gita, Kshetrajna, if you take and Kshetra, I am talking about Abhyudayas is largely confined to the kshetra, the field, not the knower. It's the field. Whereas Nishreyas is beyond Indriya. It is Anubhuti. You experience it. You cannot explain it. Lot of things with respect to Nishreyas are beyond Indriyas. You can feel about it. You know that there is only an Anubhuti, Anubhava. But you can't use some ways. I will give you a simple example. Very simple, in a very simple way. Let's say I am walking on the road. Okay? And it's a busy road, evening time. And I find a blind man with his white stick. He also wants to cross, I also want to cross. I had two choices. I can say I am getting late, I can go. Or I can wait. I hold him, I said, don't worry, I will. I slowly take him and then put him on the other side. After you put him on the other side, something will happen to you. That is a tiny bit of experience of Nishreyas. That satisfaction is different from the satisfaction of having a cup of coffee. Cup of coffee also gives a satisfaction. This also will give you a satisfaction. This is of a different variety. This is beyond, you cannot explain, but you can feel good about it. There's a feeling of goodness with you. You did something good. That is very different. We all actually, we want to increase that quotient. Feeling good, that is feeling full. It is a tiny bit, it's one snapshot, a tiny particle of what can happen if you are like that 24/7, if you are like that is Nishreyas. It's a feeling of fullness, it's a feeling of reach. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudram pravishanti yadvat. It's what Krishna says. The water which empties into a great ocean will not even shake because it has reached fullness. Brahmaputra can dump the entire water into Bay of Bengal, nothing will happen to Bay of Bengal. It will not even shake. It has reached fullness. That fullness is what we are after. We think that comes through a better job. We think that comes through owning a bigger house. All that happens. We think through like that. But every living being, I am saying living being. I also said human beings here. I should actually say living being. Even an ant and a cockroach has these two. Just because I am not able to sense it, it doesn't mean they don't have. We cannot come to such conclusion. This is Jiva Dharma. That every living being has Abhyudaya and Nishreyas. And now the question is, what do I do? Where do I start and how do I go? This is what our life is actually at the end of the day. In many ways, this is what life is. Do you do more of Abhyudaya? Do you do more of Nishreyas? Or do you do Abhyudaya for some time and then get into Nishreyas? One can. So now the moment you put these two paths, then the second question you will ask is, how should I go about? And how do I learn it? So that is where human beings, so in this journey that we do, we need a few things. We need to do a few things. First thing is, we should know, fine, there is something called Abhyudaya and Nishreyas. How do I pursue these goals? Are there any sort of guidelines for me? Or I just here and there and then find out what it is? Do I do like that? Are there any governing principles which I should? Right? Because that's what Shankaracharya said. Vedokto, duvido vedokto dharmo, pravritti lakshano nivritti lakshanascha. Jagataha sthiti praninam sakshat abhyudaya nishreyasa hetu. He said in Veda it is there. There is pravritti lakshana, there is a nivritti lakshana. They are all told in Veda. And he mentions all that. So therefore we need, first we should know, fine, Abhyudaya and Nishreyas is fine. Tell me how to achieve it. Are there some ways to go about? Are there some governing principles and so on and so forth? That's one question all of us will have. Second point is, we will anyway start making attempts. But whatever level of understanding we have, all of us have our own understanding. With that level of understanding, we will keep making attempts. Because we cannot be without karma even for a kshana. Na kachi kshanam jatu tishtat akarma krit. You can't be. without the karma even. So we'll keep doing. So then we'll have obstacles and pitfalls. I thought something, I went on. I don't know what to do. So now, what do I do about it now? These questions will come, right? And we'll have ethical and moral dilemmas. Definitely there will be ethical and moral dilemma, plenty. That's why it's called Dharma Sukshma, Dharma Sankata. Dharma is very easily said, but extremely difficult to bring it into practice. That's why great people also, are finding it difficult. So there will be so many dilemmas, ethical and moral dilemmas will come. So the question is, what do I do about it? It's a natural question I have. Natural question all of us will have in our own life at different points in time. So then we will go to the third. Then we'll ask, how did others handle it? That is another method, na? Because I thought I know the principles. I am anyway trying to do something. And I keep trying to do something. I face some very complicated situations. Ethical dilemmas and moral dilemmas and things like that. So what do I do? That's why in Taittiriya Upanishad also he said, Ye tatra brahmana sammarshinaha yukta ayukta aluksha dharma kamasyu yata te varta tatra varteran tata tatra varte. Do like what they do. That was their convocation address. It said, sometimes I tell you, after all that I have, the Guru is saying, I have taught you so much. But my dear young friend, understand, when you step out into the world of action, you will have problems. However great I may be a teacher, but you will have your own dilemmas. Look upon someone. That's what Taittiriya Upanishad, the beautiful 11th Anuvaka in Sikshavalli, the convocation address, in which some nice ideas are there. This is one of them. So how have others handled? And where did it lead? If you start looking at it, then you have this Ayati model versus Shuka Brahma I took as an example. What is Ayati model? Ayati said, let us go in the Abhyudaya route. Nothing will happen. And he found after a long time that he came back to square one. He wasted a lot of his time. 1,000 years. He traded his old age with his youngest son and got youthfulness from him and thought he is going to have more and more of enjoyment. He finally found this leading us nowhere. I mean, we don't have to go up to Ayati. There is an economics principle called law of diminishing returns. First cup of coffee, marginal utility. First cup of coffee, I am a coffee connoisseur. First cup of coffee, wonderful. Second cup of coffee, very good. Fourth cup of coffee, I will run away. That's all. It's so short-lived. Huh? That is today. Cup of coffee after 3 months, it was not as great as one cup of coffee every day. That itself started coming down. So that is the Ayati model. Abhyudaya cannot take you to perfection. Anything which is conditioned, understood, measured, assessed by Indriyas cannot give you nirantara satisfaction. Whereas anything with Nishayas will give you permanent satisfaction. What is the example? 4 hours of sound sleep until you die, which is a bigger sleep. But the sound sleep, we love to have that sound sleep. Because that belongs to not Indriya. That doesn't belong to that category. It is beyond Indriyas. Nobody knew what happened. You got up and said, I had a good sleep. So anything which is beyond Indriya is much more concentrate, much more nirantara. It will not have a law of diminishing returns or marginal utility. None of that will happen. Shuka Brahma was like that. He or Sanakadiya. There are models like that. So when you look at some old things, you will have to learn these. Oh, this model led this way. This model led this way. So we have to make our own judgment of life. People have walked through the road. I am not the first one to walk. Probably we are, I don't know how many trillionth or how many zillionth people walking on this road of life. Road called journey called life. So we don't have to necessarily think that what people have done earlier has no meaning. That means we are so childish. We are so ineffective. We are so childish and we are so naive. That is the meaning. Everybody have walked through a journey called life. They have come to conclusions. Can we look at it? Right? Then another question which I ask, is there somebody who, some people attract me? What they do, I seem to like. So that way at least I can now start looking towards that person and then find my way of going. This is what we all will do in life. From the child to, you may be a CEO. If you are a CEO, you are a mentor also, who is also probably doing all these for you privately in a private room. That's the only difference, perhaps. Point I'm making is this is very important for us in our journey. Now the question is, where is this? This is where the entire text comes. This is where Itihasas and Puranas are coming. This is where why do you need Ramayana? That's the most important question. Ramayana will have answers for many of these. For instance, some of these may be available in the Vedic text. Some of them may be available in Ramayana, ethical dilemmas and moral dilemmas. Maybe you will find it in Ramayana. How others have handled it? Look at Mahabharata and Ramayana. So these Ramayana and Mahabharata, the two greatest itihasas of this Sanatana Dharma, is simply because it is actually giving us this step 3 and step 4 and step 2 so beautifully. So many things. Mahabharata is even richer, much more richer, with so much of upakatha, so much of experiences people have walked through. And today we have chosen to throw all of them at one end. As though the past doesn't matter to us. It's only the last 50 years of what Western people have told us is what perhaps we need to do. And there's a corpus of knowledge. Now talking of a corpus of knowledge, our corpus of knowledge, one way to look at it is what is called Chaturdasha Vidyasthanam. For the first session of the Taittiriya Upanishad, I talked about it. It's called Chaturdasha Vidyasthanam. Our entire corpus of ancient knowledge is put into 14 blocks. Chaturdasha Vidyasthanam. 14 blocks. Very nicely. It is the 4 Vedas and then the Vedangas, Upavedas, then Dharma Shastras, Smritis, Shad Darshanas, okay, Itihasas. All these are nicely put. That will give everything that we need in this slide, actually speaking. Because we are all walking only this journey in life at the end of the day. And for which we want some benefit of what others have thought about. Then you make your own judgment. Because our culture is, it says, make your own judgment. After 683 shlokas, Krishna says to Arjuna, you think. Vimrushya, that's what it says. You think about it and decide. That's our culture. We never push anything down the throat. But we want the benefit of the knowledge. That's where Itihasas and Puranas and all these repositories are important. Mahabharata is called Panchama Veda because it's so rich. It's a real case in point. It's not mere theory, it is practice and what obstacles and pitfalls. Ramayana, these two are very, very important in this country. Ramayana and Mahabharata. Because Ramayana says how to set the standard and how to live. Great emphasis is on that. How to set the standard and how to live, notwithstanding anything that comes in your way. That is Ramayana. Mahabharata says when you try to live like that, when you have a variety of people and things around us, how will you be actually pulled from all over the side and how we have to handle it by showing how people have handled it. So rich. That's why these two are celebrated texts in this country. Our wisdom will go up only when we read these two. In management parlance, since I'm professor of management, I keep using some management words. We use what is called normative and descriptive. Normative means what it ought to be. Ramayana is a normative text. Descriptive is what it is. Mahabharata is overwhelmingly descriptive. Ramayana is overwhelmingly normative. That's why these two are together can make a huge repository of knowledge to guide us in our wisdom. That's why, I think we should look at Ramayana. There are many more reasons which I want to talk about. Many more reasons why we should read Ramayana. Okay? First of all, Ramayana has some great role models. Depending upon your psychological makeup, you will find your role models. People can find role models from Ravana, Kumbhakarna up to Rama. There are so many role models available. It all depends on where am I in this journey. Because I tell you, in that role, they have excelled. Kumbhakarna, for whatever tamas combination he has to bring, nobody can be better than Kumbhakarna. So he is the best role model there. For example, I am telling. And on a lighter vein I am saying. But what I am saying is, Ramayana has role models. Shabari, look at Guha. And if you look at Jatayu, I mean, you should just see Jatayu. You will actually, if you read the way Jatayu handles the shots, a few sargas, it can blow you off. Because there are some values which you can take out of that story. And the way Rama says, Jatayu is like my father. He does the Antima Kriya. Rama as a character you should see in Ramayana. He does the Antima Kriya for Jatayu. He is like my father. I have to do. What a value he practices. When Ravana is killed, finally, Vibhishana refuses to do this thing. He says, if you are not doing, I am going to do. He says, if you are not going to do, I am going to do. What kind of a characterization you see there? Very high standards. On a pedestal which is unimaginable. So this story has a lot of role models. So we should see it. Okay? Then real confusions about how to react to various challenges in life, you will find beautiful messages. If you are able to take it, we can handle a lot of things. In fact, very heavily I see it in Ayodhya Kanda. 119 sargas, fantastic. I have read several sargas, not the entire 119, but I have read copiously. Wonderful. Today's youngsters, I will talk about it. Very important. And we do not have an idea of what it means to build an enduring character. You should see every character. Sita, if you read Sundarakandam, just Sita and Sundarakandam alone, you will pale. Nobody can come near. Nobody can come near, I am telling you. That kind of a characterization I have not seen. So beautiful. So what it means to build an enduring character, how to live a courageous living, dharmic and courageous living. These ideas are there. Okay? But more importantly, it always pays to know more about Avatara Purushas. Wherever there is a story of Avatara Purusha, we must read. It will only benefit us. Why? Because Avatara Purushas come with a very strong purpose. As Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tada atmanam srijamyaham. That's what he says. I will come. He is explaining, I am an Avatara Purusha. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. It's a strong purpose why Avatara Purusha comes. I will establish dharma. Which means, if you read Avatara Purusha, you will read actually very important passages there. How dharma got vitiated, how it is restored, how not practicing dharma can make life so unsustainable. That message you will get if you read Avatara Purusha story. You should know that. That you will know. Some great good has to be done to the humanity. That's why Avatara Purusha comes. And all Avatara Purusha has come in all religions. Some great good has to be done. That's why Avatara Purusha has come. So we will be inspired to read that story. Very important. Because they don't come, there's, they are enormous energy. It's like some 100,000 wattage or voltage of energy. Go near them. I mean, some people are blessed to be with a few people who are Avatara Purushas. I always say, my wife's grandmother always say, I've seen Ramana, I have seen Chandrasekhara Bharati. People, the very mention of the Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, very mention of the word electrify is, imagine people who had the blessings to be around them in the right. There are a lot of people who are talking all ill about these people, and they are all, that's okay. We don't have to talk about people who have wasted that time. So, to think and know of Avatara Purusha itself is a big thing. Ramayana is about an Avatara Purusha called Rama. So there is merit in reading that. Because it is a world moving force. What is an Avatara Purusha? It will move thousands and thousands. Our leader and all, Modi will be paling in comparison with the Avatara Purusha. Modi itself is a great mover. But I am saying he will pale in comparison with the concept of Avatara Purusha is what I am saying. That's what an Avatara Purusha is. Don't you want to know what is this character? What did it do? What kind of things they do? I am sure we must know. If it is a world moving force, we must know. Look at this. Buddha spoke to 5 disciples. 6th century BC, which is a good 2700 years back. And Buddhism is still thriving. That's the power of this one Vyakti called Buddha. I'm just giving an example. That is the power of Avatara Purusha. Krishna spoke to Arjuna on the battlefield and we are talking about it. That's the power. And Avatara Purushas defeat the logic of time. They work actually the reverse. The more farther away you go, they become more famous. Whereas ours is the reverse logic. When you are here, you are famous. After that, people forget. Now, Avatara Purusha works on a reverse logic. After 100 years, they are powerful. Tyaga Brahmam after 400 years will be even more powerful than what he is today, for instance. Like that. That's why Avatara Purusha must be a story of Avatara Purusha ought to be inspiring. If it is not inspiring, we have missed. We have failed to get the connection. Good luck next time. That's all we can say. Because the logic says it should be a world moving force, so knowing about it should energize us. If it does not energize you, that means you are a bad conductor. Do something about it. That's all.